Hey, oops, let's swap that over. There we go. What's good, people? This is your boy Blunt. Sorry we're a little late. We had some really technical difficulties going on here. But nonetheless, we are here. And as you can see, I am running dolo today. Brooklyn P had some things that he had to do at the house that I can't mention, but it was enough to keep him from coming on here today. So we're going to keep it rolling. As you can see, I have this side, my guest Marianne Pizzitola, and we're going to be discussing some things that is very important to uh, most of you actives' future. So you're going to need to buckle in and listen up. So how you doing, Marianne? What's going on?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I see you got the fancy mic with the sticker on. Oh, we moving up in the world. I want to get one of those box things that come around, and that way I can have the logo on the thing. But I try to keep the mic out of sight for me because
I
you
have
know
those.
I like to talk right into the mic. Sometimes it'd be too much. So Marianne, I, people should know you on. You're practically another co-host on this show.
Yeah,
Right many times I believe the first time you've been on this show where we talked about this situation was about a year ago,
right.
and I'm like, we have a lot of videos leading up to today, which makes me wonder why is there still people out there that just don't know what's going on. You know, it's like what can you do? You put video out, you share it, you put out flyers or whatever, other than digging in your pockets and getting a commercial. Buying a commercial. I just don't understand why so many people still don't understand what's going on.
I think
So
they choose not to want to know. They don't
mm,
want
I,
to know the truth.
I guess it's that, or again, like we always say before, they don't care until it affects them, and it's like, buddy, this is going to affect you, and they just don't believe it, right?
No.
So that again, so there's of course there's some people that probably never seen you before who don't know that you're Wonder Woman, and so you know, go ahead and do your little introductions, and then we'll jump into everything.
So I am Marianne Pizzitola. I am president of the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. We're an organization of 250,000 municipal workers fighting to protect our healthcare from being stolen from us, basically just like the transit workers were. And we started our organization 4 years ago, suing the city of New York now 3 times. We've won a 11 times across 3 different cases. The first case up to the New York State Court of Appeals. The second case is still in mediation. And the third case, we just had oral arguments in the New York State Court of Appeals. But we have not lost yet, knock on wood. And hopefully we don't. But we are still trying to do legislation on both the city and the state side. The state would protect all municipal workers in the state, including transit. The city bill is just New York City retirees, but it's been a crazy long 4 years so far.
So you went to Albany. Was it? Was it last week? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, this 15th.
Right. So you went to Albany. Well, I was there too, y'all.
I was with you.
Yeah, we went to Albany to witness the proceedings for what?
So that was the Brentkowski case,
There
and
we go.
was named after retired firefighter Robert Brentkowski. And the premise of that case was that they should not have tried to force us into Medicare Advantage. Um, we successfully stopped them, but if the mayor wins this last appeal, so we won in Supreme Court, the court said, no, no, mayor, you can't force those retirees into Medicare Advantage, take them off their traditional Medicare with a senior supplement. You cannot do that. The appeals court gave us a unanimous decision affirming the lower court, and then mayor appealed again, and this time it went up to the highest court in the state. This is the last level of appeal, and so if this court has a couple of choices. It could actually affirm the two lower courts, and then we win. Yay! The mayor can't force us into Medicare Advantage. But if we lose, the mayor can force us into Medicare Advantage, but it does not take away any of the facts that the two lower courts found. For
Mm-hmm.
example, this could help you guys. The two
Mm-hmm.
lower courts found that moving retirees into Medicare Advantage would be a diminishment of benefit, could put their lives at risk because that most of these Medicare Advantage plans, they wrongly delay and deny care to retirees through prior authorizations. Doctors and hospitals don't all accept these plans because of a narrow network. So all of those facts still stay. But if we lose that case, that means that the mayor can force us into Medicare Advantage. Will they? That's yet to be seen. The third thing that they can do is they could actually remand the case or part of the case back to the lower court and say, resolve more of this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So those are the three things that could happen, and we really won't know until the court makes a determination, and they could take their time with that. We actually don't even know when that'll come.
Wow. So you said something is important because your case is actually separated from us New York City Transit
Right.
worker case. But if you guys win, that should look good with us, right?
I believe it would. Because
So,
basically your case is somewhat similar in
right.
that you should never have been forced into MA. It should have
Hmm.
been a choice. But I'm not really happy that your judge hasn't made a decision in almost a year.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that judges are lazy and they just wait for other people to come up with their conclusions before he'll come up. So I'm thinking that's what he's doing. He's trying to see what's going to happen with this Brentkowski case and let them do all the legwork and then just be like, okay, they want to, all right, let's sign this off. But it's a shame though. It's a shame that you know what I wanted to ask you this because I think this is very important. So you represent over 250,000 people.
Mhm.
Trans is about 40,000 plus people. What do you think it is that first of all, you represent NYPD, FDNY, right? Who else you represent on? There's another
It's sanitation, it's DC
sanitation.
37, which is 62 locals, it's corrections, it's correction captains, fire officers, librarians, laborers, technicians, health and mental health, even city council members, former mayors is under the representation of the retirees. Yes, that's crazy, right?
Teachers too, right? Teachers?
Yes,
Right.
teachers.
So what do you think is why do you think the camaraderie, like especially between um, firefighters and police officers, why do you think their union is so much stronger than transit union?
I don't know because I've never worked at your job, and I really didn't know many transit people until I met you guys. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand that lack of camaraderie. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand why, like in our job, um, I think your jobs, you mostly work by yourselves, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct on that. In our jobs, you typically have a partner or you work on a team. Fire, you work with a team. If you go onto a job site, there's several of you there. Um, Many of you, I guess, if you're driving a train or driving a bus, you're by
By yourself.
yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't that camaraderie, and the only time you may see your colleagues is maybe when you're checking in or you're checking out or whatever. But I was in a station in the Bronx of over 300 people. So you get to be family. And then, of course, because of the job, we're always so short staffed. And this is going back 35 years ago, still so short staffed that even you would be mandated for overtime and you would kind of all work together and grumble and then get together. In between calls, you might go out for coffee or go grab a donut or try to grab dinner in between and try to talk to each other. But you'll only see you'd see each other on jobs, right? So if two ambulances showed up at the same call, like a paramedic unit and a basic unit, an EMT unit, you would be working together. So we had a camaraderie just from working together. We weren't working on our own. And then in that kind of a job, because it is extremely dangerous at times, you really have to have each other's back. So like if someone says I got your back, and then I'm very serious about this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a company that I'm working with right now that I'm not happy with, and we're actually paying them, and I don't feel they have my back. And when I say I have your back, like I have your back, you
Mm-hmm.
should have my back. Police officers have a saying called I got your six. um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of meanings going back into the old days on what that means, but literally I got your back, and they do. Like, if you're sitting with me or you're working with me, I am not going to let anything happen to you. This is it's a very powerful bond that workers have in these kinds of jobs. So fire, police, corrections, EMS, these, you're working together, and sometimes your life requires that kind of a connection.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important. And then when you lose a member, it's the station that typically becomes the family of their surviving spouse, to make sure that you help their spouse and you help their
Mm-hmm.
dependents, their kids. So I think that's maybe why. That's the best answer I can give you without actually knowing why. I've been disappointed in a lot of the transit retirees' ability to build more power within the retirees and get their fundraising going to try to move their court case along. But I can't tell you. I can't give you a better suggestion, the answer than that, actually.
No, I think you knit the knit. Oh gosh, I need my coffee. I think you hit the nail on the head with that, because again, like you said, you guys always are working together. When as a bus operator, you're by yourself most of the time. You don't see nobody until you come to the crew room to check in, or you have lunch
Right,
there, and sometimes you have lunch out there, so you still by yourself. And you go to the token booth, they're by themselves. They might have a partner every now and then, but for the most part, they're by themselves. Cleaners by themselves, walking down, up and down. Yeah, so I think that's the big difference between why NYPD and FDNY, their camaraderie is so much stronger. Also, the fact that, again, like you said, the job is dangerous. Yeah, you guys are putting your life on the line all the time, so you gotta have each other's back. It's
right.
just don't want to be that one that fails your partner and they get unalived. It's like, no, you don't want to be there. You want to make sure you protect your friend, because you guys become friends. you know and it's just not like that in transit. uh you will probably see people get together if there's some kind of union action that's going to affect them, right? And that's the most time you see the camaraderie. It also depends on your your union rep, who you have around you that represents represent you as a union rep. Uh, we had a couple of good union reps at the depot. Some people may disagree. I don't know. I'm 10 years removed, so I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. But when I was there, we had a good rep, and he always made sure that the depot was together. He would do shop gates and talk to make sure everybody knew what was going on. He defended everybody equally, and we used to have in our crew room, which is like the lunchroom. We had chessboards and pool tables, and sometimes they'd cover the pool table to make a tennis table thing. And
Right.
so people, were getting along, and enjoying each other's company for the little time that they had in the crew room. And I've made a couple of very good friends in that small time space. But again, like you said, for the most part, you're on your own. So I think, I have to be honest with you, Marianne. There's a group in Gleason right now that I think is working to actively fight that. It's the women's group in Gleason. They formed a group where they do a lot of things that benefit the members. They hold lunches, they hold dinners. They
Where is
they
that?
it's
Where
in
is
Gleason. Gleason is in Brooklyn, between 39th and Fifth Avenue, between 39th and I think it's 36th Street. It's that long. There's one
Mhm.
long block. But yeah, it's in Sunset Park basically in Brooklyn. Yeah,
What's
but
the depot that's like Fresh Pond Road?
Fresh Pond is technically Queens,
Yeah,
but they
they
put it
call
under
it.
the Brooklyn. Yeah, they put it under the Brooklyn umbrella because it's like I'm trying to look on a map here. It's east. It's called a eastward, almost like the borderline of Queens, but it's
Right.
under like a train station and all that. Like you'll drive right past it, won't even know. But Fresh Pond, yeah, it's definitely a Brooklyn Depot. I
You
mean, you got
probably
Brooklyn actually.
you don't remember this, but in the blizzard in '96,
Mm-hmm.
we got like 5 feet of snow,
Mm-hmm.
and my ambulance got stuck uh,
Mm-hmm.
on a road on a side street off Fresh Pond Road. And
Mm-hmm.
we ended up getting buried in the snow. We had to keep getting out to dig out our tailpipe so we didn't die. and, and then finally in the morning, a sanitation truck comes out and drags us out of the street because we couldn't drive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we had slid on the ice and like we're literally leaning up against parked cars. So when they pulled us out, we did some damage.
Oh shit.
But when they finally got us onto that main road, um, it was pretty bad, and our truck would only drive in reverse. So we thought we didn't have any like steering fluid. So I ended up walking down to that Fresh Pond Depot with a urinal because that's all I had from the back of the ambulance. And I walked into the Fresh Pond Depot and I said, "My truck is is stuck. It was right stuck in front of like Chippy's Bar. I think it was like on Fresh Pond Road, and Chippy's Bar was open at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and
Oh.
we were running out of fuel and it was really cold and we were soaking wet because we weren't expecting like blizzard and we didn't have turnout gear or anything. So I walked down to Fresh Pond Depot with my urinal and I tell the guy, the mechanic there, I need that what my problem was, and he thought maybe it was just steering fluid, and he gives me steering fluid. So we get back to my truck and we try to get it inside and put it inside the vehicle, and it still doesn't work. So we gave up. Mechanics were stopping by trying to help us out. We ended up driving that bus backwards from that depot to St. John's Queens Hospital um, on Queens Boulevard. And my partner drove that truck. He was a by day he was a ESU bomb squad drive
Oh wow.
the NYP,
Mhm.
and by night he moonlighted with me. And so what he did to me was we duct taped the back doors of my ambulance open, and he seat belted me into the back seat. He put those red hazmat bags on my legs with duct tape so I wouldn't get wet, and all I had was snow goggles. This is the most hysterical look. So here I was, duct taped, and like my ambulance, and I had to tell my driver which way to go backwards. So if I say left, it's his right. And
Right.
I only screwed up once, and we ended up in a ditch over by the park on Fresh Pond. And a Jeep Cherokee with a winch actually pulled us out. It's the craziest story ever, but
Mm.
that's totally real. And then we finally drove in backwards and we parked the truck in the back of St. John's Queens Hospital. That was a blizzard in 1996. I will never
Wow.
forget that.
Man, that would have been great if you had pictures of that suit you.
I was wearing a black uniform. It was black pants, a white shirt, a black jacket, red hazmat bags duct taped into my legs, and a hot pink set of ski glasses. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous, and it was
Uh,
ridiculous. Yeah, but
um,
that's what you had to do, right, to get back home. So
well, you made it out of there. You had to impose. So
I
there
did.
you go.
That's what EMS was good for: improvising, overcome, and adapt.
There you go. Oh wow. So all right, let's get back to this case, the Brentkowski case, and so I mean, I have an idea, but maybe you can uh flush this out for me because I feel like the Brentkowski case is a mirror to our case, although you're on the city level, right, or is it state level?
Our case is it's it. What do you mean as a city or state? That what court it's in?
Like, what's the difference between what your case inv- involves and how that difference between the transit case?
So, because you're a quasi state employee, my litigation does not technically benefit you, but the facts in it will be used by your attorney to help you in your case
Right.
because
Because
it's
I
district.
right. Because I remember them saying in the courtroom, one of the things that the judges were asking was, is this written down anywhere? You know, like they kept trying to pinpoint that fact that is this written down, or is there some kind of law or something where we could go to? And the lawyer was like, no, we had like 50 years of nobody even bothering with this, and I was like, well, I think in our case we do have it written down, for if I'm not mistaken, between that Roger Toussaint had fought for that, and he has it written down in what is it, the collective bargaining agreement, which I don't know. It feels like I'm not sure that fits with us because, like you say, retirees are not to be, they don't negotiate for retirees, but in that case they did, and he had it so. I'm trying to remember the conversation we had. He had it so that the retirees were covered under the traditional Medicare and the 20% supplemental, and there was no sunset clause to that.
So the difference between your benefits and ours, or one of the facts of your case versus mine, is that your case predicates on you having language in a collective bargaining agreement in a CBA that says that what benefits you would have. In
Mm-hmm.
the city, for city workers, that's not in our collective bargaining agreements. It's literally statutory. There
Mm-hmm.
is a law in the city of New York that was done in 1967 after the Medicare Medicaid Act was passed in 1965. And the mayor then, John Lindsay, wanted to give health care to city workers and their retirees and families. And so he passed a law. He right for employees, he gave them a personnel order ordering all active workers would qualify for this benefit. But if you were retired already, he couldn't give you this benefit, bestow Medicare to you simply by a personnel order because you weren't personnel. He had to
Mm-hmm.
pass a law to give it to you. So he did. He went to the New York City Council, these crazy people, 51 of them that have not helped us for 4 years. That's the
Mm-hmm.
intro 1096 component. And he said, Council, I want to give retirees health care and I want to pay for it and I want to give them Medicare. And retirees at the time, as well as employees, were paying for a small percentage of their health benefits. He wanted to pay 100% of it up to a certain point. And so he had the council draft a law. That law became 12-126, and it reads the city will pay the full cost of health coverage. Coverage defined later in litigations as to mean premium. The city will pay the full cost of health coverage up to the HIP HMO rate, which was a plan that the city had created back in the 40s. Up to that rate for every employee, retiree, and their dependent, and those available are eligible for Medicare will pay their Medicare B premium because we're going to be paying the full cost of health coverage for active workers. And that's what they did. They literally, at the time, Medicare B cost $3 a month. Today it's like $180 a month. But the city was reimbursing that to current retirees. The only way he could do that was passing a law to be able to give it to retirees. Ours, you don't see anything in a collective bargaining agreement in the 300 that we looked at. It'll literally, if it does say anything, it regurgitates that law.
Mm-hmm.
But unions can only negotiate under city and state law for those in their unions for wages, hours, and working conditions. Retirees, it is not a mandatory subject of bargaining to negotiate for current retirees. We're not in their union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean that management can unilaterally screw you? Yes, it does. And this is why it was the moral obligation for the union to protect you. You
Mm-hmm.
have a collective bargaining agreement that actually outlines what they can and what they have to give you and what they
Mm-hmm.
can't do. We didn't have that. Ours was literally relied upon by law.
And it's crazy because even though you didn't have that, you haven't lost a case yet.
No.
It's like,
Well, because we had other evidence, right? So we had letters, we had newsletters, we had documents, we had summary program descriptions, which is that booklet you get every time at open enrollment that tells you what your plans are.
mhm,
That's why. And so we had plenty of other evidence, and we had affidavits from former deputy mayors that said, when you retire, this will be your benefit.
mhm. And that's like the one of the things that I you know, TWU, I'm saying TW 100R Incorporated tries um push a lot is the affidavits, which I feel is so important
It
because you
is.
get a lot of people that get on Facebook and they type away their problems. You
Yep.
say, okay, send us an affidavit, crickets. And
Yep.
it's like, I try to say people to them, the more affidavits we get, the better it is to help us. We can give it to the lawyer can show the judge, because we're fighting an uphill battle here. And it's like nothing. And it can get frustrating, but I'm not gonna stop until something happens in court. So, but yes, you brought up the 1096, which is a great segment, by the way, a segue, by the way.
Segue. Yep.
you know, uh, so we're gonna talk about that. People watching right now might not know anything about what this 1096 is. So let's talk about that. I'm gonna add that to the screen.
Go ahead.
Hopefully we don't mess up. Let me try to change that up a little bit. Let's put that up there. There we go. Hey, why you keep going on my side? There you go.
How'd you do that? He's like, "Ooh,
Yeah, just click on it and you drag it over on the
gotcha."
screen. So there is intro. I wish I could make that bigger. Can I make it bigger? Let me put it this way. There we go. There we go. I like this one better. This is Bill in intro 1096. What's the full name of this bill?
It is 1096
Okay,
2024 because it's
there we
from
go.
last year. And then you see right next to it, it says name, protecting the vested health insurance coverage and contribution.
Contributions of retired employees of New York City,
Yep, there
New
you go.
York Committee. New York City of New York Committee.
Well, it's in the committee. That's the status. And the committee is under Carmen De La Rosa. And Carmen has hijacked our bill and refuses to allow it to be heard, as has Speaker Adrian Adams.
Mm. So let me just give you what the title says. It says here a local law to amend the administrative code of the city of New York in relation to protecting the vested health insurance coverage and contributions of retired employees of the city of New York. And then it go down when you go to the summary, because this has all the. Oh, so you can see here, folks, if you take a screenshot, because this part is important, all the sponsors of the bill.
That
Now,
are currently on it, right?
right. So these are, who are these people?
So you have Chris Marte, who's one of my sponsors, as well as Robert Bob Holden. He's retiring soon. So they introduced the bill. Then you have Linda Lee, Shekhar
Mhm.
Krishnan, Eric Botcher, Shahana Hanif, Mercedes Narcisse, Gail Brewer, Alexa Velez, Rafael Salamanca, Vicky Palladino, Christy Marmorato, Ina Vernikov, Joanne Ariola, and Frank Morano.
Those are, who are those people?
They're all city council members.
All city council.
And so there's only 15 of them on the bill, but there's 51 council members. A majority of them are Democrats and progressives, and they're not on our legislation
Right.
because the speaker told them if they did, she would cut their discretionary funding and she would also take away their committee seats. Also, DC 37 and the United Federation of Teachers had basically told them that they would not endorse them or help them with their elections if they supported us. So if you notice this year, if you are one of those campaign watchers, DC 37's criteria was specifically if they supported retirees, they were not supporting them, and they would withdraw any support that they were giving any candidate. For example, they did that to Alexa Aviles. Alexa supported us. They had originally endorsed her. They unendorsed her for
Mm,
supporting retirees.
wow. That's crazy. So listen, guys, who's watching, go to your council members and show them the video. But you can show them the bill. and ask them if they're supporting this, because this is your future. If you're still working, this is your future,
Yep.
and you want to make sure that you have it secure. So you could take a day off or whatever day, or take on your day off, just take a stroll to your local council's office and show them the bill. Be like, we need you to support this. And if they're not supporting them, then don't vote for them. Get somebody in there that's going to support this. I think that's the least you could do to protect your future.
So there's we have a political website because we don't want to mix our organization's business with the politics of what we're doing. So we said that we would support candidates if they agreed to meet with us. They signed our pledge of 3 issues. They agreed to keep communications open with us once they were elected. And we also asked them to sign that pledge with a wet signature, a real signature, and return it to us. And that we would then, I would put them on my radio show on Friday mornings on WBAI. I would do my weekly lives, like you see me do my lives. They're almost at 3. This week, I've got 3 interviews with 3 different candidates this week. And then we'd put them on our website, retiredlaborstrong.nyc. So if anyone goes to retiredlaborstrong.nyc, we don't care if you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're whatever. We will put you on our page as a supporter of us and give you our like good housekeeping stamp of approval endorsement. We also have another page on that website that says the Hall of Shame, and those are all candidate or council persons that are not supporting our city legislation. So it shows you who is and who isn't. Like, for example, Darlene Mealy from Brooklyn and Camila Hanks from Staten Island, both Democrats, got on our bill. Camila got on it in the morning and she was off of it by the afternoon.
Dang.
Darlene Mealy signed it, and like 3 days later, she got off of it. So that said, that tells you they don't have your back. So while you might be a long, staunch Democrat, if you don't push these people to start supporting you, the only reason that they're supporting the unions is because the unions are giving them campaign money, doing their calling, they're doing their campaign calling, and they're canvassing. This is why we started organizing to get volunteers to do canvassing and campaign calling for opponents, because we want them to be challenged. It's not, they'll have nothing to fear. Like, we keep telling them you shouldn't be fearing the unions because all they're giving you is money. We can give you boots on the ground and we can help you make calls. Many of our retirees are homebound. They can make
Mm,
calls all day long. So
mm.
they should be utilizing that, especially knowing that retirees are home and they want to help. Yeah, I know Lloyd. Lloyd says Darlene won't answer the call. You're gonna need to like bird dog her and just show up at her office. Although she rarely, I think, comes to work. She even rarely shows up at um she rarely shows up at even council votes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so you gotta be on top of her. Don't let it. I mean, if you guys ever go on is it X? Ugh. You guys go on X. Every time Adrian, what's her name? Adrian.
Adrienne Adams.
Adrian Adams. Every time Adrian Adams put up a post, Marianne's right there.
I got an alert set every time she posts. I'm like, I get a ding, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
I be reading. I'm like, oh god. So once I see Adrian Adams, I go, where's Marianne? Where's
Wait
Marianne?
till
I
you
know.
see my new show. I have a new show that I started recording. I'm editing the video now. It's called Candidates in Cars Getting Coffee.
Oh my god. Wait, what's the name of the website? Said Retired Labor Strong.
Yeah, retiredlaborstrong.nyc.
Dot
It probably
NYC.
needs a little updating. I'll go check it tonight.
I hope I spelled that right. Y'all know my spelling, right?
Retired labor strong.nyc.
You got to, you got to do that to me, Marianne. I think that's it. Oh,
Retired labor strong.nyc.
I know. It should be that simple, right?
I know. I
What
can't
happened?
type in the chat, can I? I mean, into the
You could
comments.
type it in. Yeah, you could type. You can go to the comments.
I can type in
You
comments?
should be able to.
No, it doesn't say that.
What happened to my bell? Great. Continue. Oh, cancel. Clear. Clear. Clear.
There you go.
Continue.
Thank you, Shaw. Retired labor strong. Am I? They got it.
They
You
got it.
got it.
Oh, y'all got it. Good. Thank you, Shaw. Thank you. Thank you, Shaw.
Thank you, Shaw.
Jeez. I can't get it. Can't go. It's like locked on the screen over here for whatever reason. I can't get out of it. Look, get out of there. No. No.
You're having technical difficulties today, dude.
There we go. There we go. Jeez. There we go. Thank you, Shaw.
Retired labor strong
Jeez.
NYC. See,
I
it's a
didn't have
team,
my coffee,
it's a
y'all.
team effort, man.
Yeah. Oh, wait, but I mean, we don't have to talk about what happened earlier, do we?
All right. Yeah, I bet you recorded that shit, didn't you?
No, no. Well, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. Oh, that was a stomach laugh for real.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get back to serious. Serious. So, guys, look this up. Retired Labor Strong. Go in there. Uh, what can they do when they go there, Marianne?
So go to retiree candidates, and you can see the candidates that are that have put in writing that they support retiree issues. And what were the three retiree issues that we said? We said that they could not force us into Medicare Advantage. They had to protect our city, our Medicare, and our city paid supplement. That we get as New York City retirees, we get Medicare B reimbursement. You guys get a partial reimbursement. We get a full reimbursement. That reimbursement used to come back in the 60s, early 70s, came monthly and then it came quarterly. Now it doesn't come till 16 to 22 months later. So we want it more timely. That's the second point. And the third point is New York City retirees dependents lose their health care the day the retiree dies. And we think that's really inhumane. It's not even inhumane, it's inhuman. So what we said was we want a grace period, like between 30 and 90 days. And I'm open to flexible on the time frame. But I want a time frame that the dependents that they don't literally lose their health care the day that they're burying their loved one, that they have a grace period to be able to secure health benefits for them and their other surviving dependents. So those were the three issues. And then, of course, the little asterisk at the bottom is if you're ever elected, that you would keep the lines of communication open with us. And so any candidate that agreed to those three issues, and if you go to the Retired Labor Strong page and you go to retiree candidates, those issues are laid out at the top. So you could see what we asked them. And they had to commit to that in a letter on their letterhead with a hand signature. And if they did, they're on that page. And you will see Democrats, you will see progressives, you will see Republicans on that page because they committed to that. I don't care what their politics are.
Mm-hmm.
We've always said to people, we're going to stay as apolitical as possible. I'm not going to tell you you have to, like many unions say, this is who we're voting for. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to do that. These days, you see a rebuke of the leadership that does that. The members, like when some of the unions, for example, were posting that they were endorsing, let's say Cuomo, for example, leadership says we're endorsing Cuomo for mayor, and then all the members of that union were attacking the leadership. I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell you who to vote for. I want to tell you it's your job to vote, and it's your job to choose your candidates. But I'm going to help you in one stage, and I'm going to say, I'm doing all of these vetting. I'm going to speak to as many people as I can, and I'm going to tell you who supports our one issue, retiree
Mm-hmm.
health benefits being preserved, federal Medicare, and not forcing you into an alternative Medicare Advantage plan.
There you go. I
That
mean,
way, left or right. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're a progressive and the only one willing to support you was the conservative, you're not going to support that person. Most people, they vote down ticket blue or down ticket red.
mm-hmm.
And I disagree with that, but that's a whole nother video. But if I could at least tell you, these people are safe on this one issue, vet them for the other things that are important to you in your district. And that's why we did this website.
There you go. That's our show for today, folks. No, no, but listen, that's I can't even add to that at all. Listen, take it down, take a screenshot, retire labor strong.nyc. and do your thing. Vet them out, like she said. We need people to get involved. That's the main issue. Yes, Shad, this is a great organization, very important. Everyone needs to be involved if you're working or if you're on disability,
Yeah.
even better, But one thing you could do is to help spread the word is simply share the video. Share it out to everybody you know, especially if they're working for transit or the city. They need to see this. They need to hear this information. They need to get involved. Stop pushing it to the side. Stop kicking the can down the road.
Let me tell. I want to add one more thing because this is really important. It's empowering you. If your guests in these comments are active workers, they need to know that what was shoved down all of your throats, right? Your
Hmm.
retirees forcing you into MA, taking away your supplemental plan, your CPPO plan. That doesn't have to be forever. When helping some of your ATU unions, I was able to help two of those unions, encourage them to find an alternative way of empowering them to negotiate out of the pattern. And they did. Maybe not the economic pattern, but not forcing you into Medicare Advantage. Two of those unions actually changed their union bylaws that they cannot force their members into Medicare Advantage unless a certain number, like 2/3 of the entire membership, say, yes, I want to be put into this crappy ass Medicare Advantage plan. So that is powerful to know because you guys are TW Local 100. I have not had an opportunity to attempt to meet your new leadership. I mean, your last leadership, the last time I went to go see him, he wasn't there. Remember, he was calling me Marianne Pizza Face. But I was willing to bring him a pizza pie and say, hey, dude, like, let's sit and have a conversation.
That would have been
When we
so
were at
good.
that rally in Brooklyn, remember?
That would
But
have been so good.
I,
Yeah.
I know, I had like 100 retirees with me, and yet he guess he knew I was in the borough and he ran, but now that he's gone, it would be interesting to have that conversation with your leadership because let me give you what this looks like because some of those unions only have a couple hundred members, right? So if you figure a supplemental plan costs about $200 a month, so times 12 is $2,400. So your union literally sold off your health benefits for $2,400 a month. So if you take into consideration how many did you say you had? About 44,000 people. So
Yeah, roughly.
44,000 people times $200 a month times 12 months. Whoever's got a calculator, because I suck at math. That would be the value. I think it was what, $72 million? Wasn't that what we came up with?
That was what we were saying
Yeah.
before.
They literally sold you off for 72 million bucks. They literally sold you. Was it 72 million or did I screw that up? Hold on.
No,
Now
I think you're right. What you said the numbers was?
I said $200 times, you guys were 22,000 people, right?
40.
No, but 40,000 is your active workers, I thought.
Right, right. Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people
Retirees are different. Yeah.
22,000
Yeah.
times 12 months is 52, 53, 50. So maybe I'm right. $53 million. They sold you off at 53 million bucks
Okay.
a year. And if your contract was a 3-year contract times 3. Tell me you guys can't come up with $53 million in productivity in some way to save your federal public health benefit of Medicare and your CPPO plan because you can get that back. It's just
Mhm.
up to your leadership to want to negotiate it back. That's the value of what they sold you out for. It's important to know that. Numbers makes a difference.
Mhm.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. I have to keep saying it. Yes, I love you, Lloyd. Yes, please say that again, Marianne. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Don't think it's always over. You hold the power. If your leadership says, I want to wear purple uniforms to work, and your leadership goes to MTA and says, my members want purple uniforms. Well, if that's what you want, negotiate that. Guess what? You get purple uniforms. It's all what you ask for. It's
Mhm.
your leadership. Oh, see, I was close. 23,000 people.
Mhm. 22,000.
Yeah. So, but if your leadership doesn't ask, you're not going to get it. And don't let them tell you nothing they can't do nothing, it's dead, gone, and can't come back. That's never true.
The problem we have here in MTA is that the leadership is saying the opposite. They're going around telling. Well, they haven't done it since Richie Davidson's been canned, but they've been going around telling the active workers that This MA plan, the Medicare Advantage plan, is the best thing since sliced bread.
No.
And that everything that Lloyd or TW100R Inc. is saying is lying, and that they're just trying to get donations to line their pockets. It's utterly ridiculous. The last time Richie Davis had a shot gate, you remember this? Lloyd was there, just standing there.
Oh yeah, that
We,
chick put her butt in front of his face. Yeah.
Richie Davis pretty much attacked him for just standing there.
Yes.
Lloyd, Lloyd,
Lloyd. Yeah, he had that late. Was that his girlfriend or something?
I
He
think
had
that was his girlfriend. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
he
had
had
this
her
girl like go stick her butt in front of Lloyd's
to
face
block Lloyd's
to
camera because
block his
Lloyd was
camera.
recording. I mean, this was the leadership we had. He's gone now because
Karma.
right? So hopefully at some point, Marianne, you could get in touch with. I think it's what's his name. I don't remember the new president's name.
I don't know.
Maybe you can get in touch with him. Maybe he's willing to sit down and listen to you, and actually do something. Like you had said, you had unions change their bylaws to protect against it. Here in Staten Island, we had the same thing. It's like the same, it's almost the same freaking union, but they changed their bylaws to protect their members. So what's going on with TW100? Like, hello, are you not seeing the bigger picture here?
No, because he used the money that he sold you all, the value
Mm-hmm.
that $73 million altogether, he sold you off for. He applied that to raises. Do you remember when we were looking at the contract and we figured out what he did? That was what he kept saying, like, I gave you 2%. And
Mm-hmm.
that 2% was literally your health benefits, your access to federal public health benefit and Medicare, your CPPO. You can get that back. It's just leadership has to do it. But yeah,
But you see that the retirees don't. Oh, the retirees. Sorry, my bad. The actives, they don't care about all that. They just heard, oh, we got you 2%. Woohoo, we good. But they ain't tell them that they took the 2% from the retirees to put in your pocket.
yeah, I
It's like
watched
what?
his shop gates. He was like, "Well, I gave you more of the reimbursement back, and I gave you this raise, and but you literally prevented people from being able to see every doctor and hospital, and you gave that you put prior authorizations on all of their medical care. That's
Mhm.
ridiculous."
Shy says this is why I encourage people to read, and do your research. Many just accept the job and don't fully understand their contract.
And you know what, Shah, you're absolutely right, because one of the first things we teach our delegates, and I'm an old lady at this point, and I'm talking 30 something years ago, but if you don't teach your delegates to teach your peoples your contract, you'll never know you're getting screwed, right? Like we
Hmm.
used to have this thing that they couldn't change our schedule without 10 days notice. And if they did, you could file a grievance and then the administration would get pummeled, right? But they would try to change your schedule with no notice, with 24 hours notice. And then if you walked in, you're like, no, Lieutenant, like you can't do this for me. I didn't have 10 days notice. Tough noogies. You don't have a train for me to work. I'm just going to sit here until you could do something with me, but I'm here at work. You didn't give me 10 days notice. I'm not changing my schedule. I mean, you can if you want to work with the guy or gal, but you don't have to. You can literally hold the contract to their feet. But if you don't know the contract, you don't know your rights, and you don't know you're getting screwed.
Exactly. See, so important, so important. All
Yeah.
right, listen, we're at 2 minutes to the hour, so that's. I mean, we did come in late, so but still, I know
There.
you. I know you're busy, Miss Marianne.
Hey,
So,
I blew off another meeting for you.
holy shit, I feel so important.
You guys are.
Thank you, thank you. Listen, Marianne, plug your page, your YouTube page, and all your information that you can plug.
So our Facebook page is New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. We have a private page, a private group, and a public page. If you want the inner workings, if you're related to someone in the city, go to the larger group. If you're just looking for some of our information, updates, videos, whatever, you can go to the public page. We're also on every social media. We're on Blue Sky, we're on Threads, we're on X, we're on YouTube, NYC Retirees. Or there's me, Fidney Chick, FDNY CHIC, Fidney Chick, and or like both of us, I don't, it doesn't matter. I try to cross share on both channels, as well as everything goes on YouTube. When we live stream our interviews with candidates or our Friday night updates, I live stream them into 5 of our socials: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and
Instagram.
Instagram. Thank you. And that one's always difficult because it's like you got to manually click it to click in. But
And Instagram only gives you 1 hour, then they
yeah,
cut you off.
yep, they do, and they don't save them for whatever stupid reason.
Yeah, and
Go back to
Facebook.
our YouTube channel.
Facebook now are starting to delete their videos
Yeah,
too.
videos.
After 30 days, they start cutting it off.
I guess we're eating up their servers.
I guess so. Well, like I think people had a good point about that. It's like if they delete them, do we still lose the views? Right?
Oh, I don't know.
Does that discount the views? I don't know, but yeah.
Gotta
Turner
start
says
our own network.
to Neil. I hope I'm saying that right, because y'all, I'll be chopping up names. Here in Texas, they took out retirement years before I got here because it is contracted out. But they get retirement. The ones on the ground who risk their lives don't get it. Jeez.
Oh, so Tennille's a Texas retiree. That's interesting. You're reaching Texas. So, so Tennille,
Wait, hold on a second, Miss Marianne. Okay.
I mean that they're not all transit retirees, dude. So I live in the state of Georgia, and yes, I'm always working in New York, which is killing me. But yes, mainly red states took people's retirements away. In the state of Georgia, your cops, your firefighters, they don't have a retirement. They gave them like a 401k that you're literally funding, and they don't get health care when they retire. This is why this is very, very good for us that in the city of New York or state of New York, we still have that. In many of the southern states, they do not.
Did I see that?
Tennille's not retired yet. Yeah.
Hey, get out of here. Thank you. All right. Listen, guys. Me and Marianne can sit here for 2 hours, 3 hours.
Amen, brother.
But it is the holiday, so I appreciate all you guys who took the time out to watch us. Well, we got to go. Marianne, it's always a pleasure to have you on, dear.
You too, sweetheart.
You're just a fucking boatload of information, and I hope you success on all your cases. And you could drive by anytime you like.
I'll take the ferry over to see you. I'll be back in Manhattan on the 5th.
And you have some engagement that you're going to, right? This coming month.
Yeah, so June 5th, we're headed to Lower Manhattan to do a town hall with Councilman Chris Marte, and then the 11th is still kind of up in the air, but I'll be back and doing some stuff in the city on the 11th and advocating. June 14th starts to the 22nd is early voting for primaries. So make sure you are looking at who you're voting for in the city of New York to make sure you're voting for someone who's actually supporting retiree issues and you're not working against yourself. Union issues as well, because we also support candidates working, trying to run against an incumbent that's not helping you. We'll also advise you, guide you in how you can try to run against the incumbent and take back your union. So keep in touch.
Yep, you guys have homework to do. You guys have
Empowering the people.
Don't make the mistake again of voting against your own best interests.
Amen.
So with that, thank you, Marianne. I appreciate you coming out. Guys, share this out. Share this to everybody. Like, put it on your page and type in @everyone so people can see, and get this information. Yeah. All right, Marianne, have a good night. Love you.
Love
everybody
you
else. For Brooklyn Pete, I'm your boy Blunt. Peace. Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
I love that.
It's over.
It's over.
Go home.
Go home.
Go.
Go. He looks so cute in his little hat.